Today, I want to talk about something that I run into pretty much every time I look at a travel advisor's website for the first time. And it's this idea of, can someone land on your homepage and figure out what you do within like 5 seconds? Just a stranger, someone who doesn't know you, didn't come from a referral, they just found you somehow and they're there on your homepage. Do they get it right away? The answer, honestly, for most of the sites I see is no, not really. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's just kind of a pattern that happens when you build your own site or when you've been staring at it for so long that you just assume people already know things that they don't actually know. So that's what I want to walk through today, kind of like a test you can run on your own homepage. And I'll explain what I look for, what trips people up, and what you can actually do about it. I'm Justin Hinkle, and this is the Travel Advisor Website Show. So let me just start with the basic idea here. When someone lands on your homepage, they're making a really fast decision, like faster than you probably think. They're not reading everything, they're scanning. They're looking at the top of the page, like, what's the first thing I see? And they're deciding in a few seconds whether this is for them or whether they should hit the back button. And the thing that kills most advisors in that moment is that their homepage is about them. Like, it's talking about the advisor, their passion for travel, how long they've been doing it, the places they've been. And that stuff has a place on the site, but it shouldn't be the first thing someone sees. Because someone landing on your homepage, they're not there yet. They don't care about your passion yet. They're still figuring out if you can help them. So what they need to see right away is basically three things: who you work with, what you do for them, and why they should keep reading. That's it. If your homepage does those three things in the first section, the hero section, what we'd call above the fold, what you see before you scroll, you're in really good shape. So the test I'm talking about is actually pretty simple to run. And I recommend doing this with someone who genuinely doesn't know your business. Like, not your spouse who's heard you talk about it 100 times, and not another travel advisor who already gets the industry. Find someone who's just, a normal person, a friend, a neighbor, somebody, and ask them to look at your homepage, just the homepage, for 5 seconds. Then close it and ask them, what does this person do? Who do they help? Would you reach out to them if you needed what they offer? And then just listen. Don't explain anything. Don't say, well, it's because. Just listen to what they say, because whatever they tell you is what your homepage is actually communicating, not what you think it's communicating. Those are two very different things sometimes. I've done versions of this with clients, and it's always interesting. Like, someone will say, oh, I thought you were a travel blogger, or I wasn't sure if you actually book trips or if you just write about them. And the advisor will be like, what? No, it's right there on the page, but it wasn't clear enough. It was buried, or it was written in a way that assumed people already understood the travel advisor model. So let me get into the specific things I look for when I'm evaluating a homepage. And I'll just go through them kind of one at a time. The first thing is the headline. Your headline, like the main big text at the top of your page, that's doing the most work. That's probably the only thing some people will ever read. And what I see a lot is headlines that are just like, your journey starts here, or travel's the best gift, or something like that. And I get it, those sound nice, they feel on brand, but they don't actually tell me anything. Like, I could put your journey starts here on a luggage website. I could put it on a travel blog. It doesn't tell me you're a travel advisor who books trips for people. A better headline tells me something real, like who you help or what you do. Something like, I help families plan Disney vacations without the stress, or luxury cruise vacations planned for you. Something where I read it and immediately understand what's happening here. You're a person who books travel. This is who you book it for. This is what kind of travel. Now, it doesn't have to be that literal every time. Like, you don't have to write the most boring functional headline in the world, but it should be clear. And if you read your headline out loud to someone who knows nothing about you, they should be able to at least roughly understand what you do. That's the bar. The second thing is the subheadline, or the supporting text right below it. So your headline, it might be a little catchier, a little more brand forward, but then right below it, there should be a sentence or two that fills in all the gaps. Like, if your headline is something that's a little more feeling based, that supporting text is where you get specific. You say, I specialize in cruise vacations for families and couples. I handle everything, the research, the booking, the details. So you can just show up and enjoy. That tells me as a visitor a lot. I know you do cruises. I know your audience. I know what the service includes. I know the benefit. That's a lot of clarity in 2 sentences, and that's what the supporting text is for. The third thing is your call to action. So you've got your headline, your supporting text, and then usually there's a button or a link right there in that top section. And this is where I see a lot of learn more buttons. And learn more is fine, but it's really generic. It doesn't tell me what happens when I click it or why I should. A better call to action is something more specific. Schedule a free consultation. Tell me about your trip. Start planning. Something that hints at what happens next and makes it feel low stakes to click. Because a lot of people are nervous about clicking something on a website they just found. They don't want to commit to anything. So something like schedule a free consultation, that's approachable. It tells me it's free. It tells me what I'm getting. That's good. Okay, so those are the main 3 elements in that top section: headline, supporting text, call to action. If those 3 things are clear, you've already done most of the work. Well, let me talk about some other things on the homepage that either help or hurt that clarity. One is photos. So photos on a homepage do a lot of communicating, even when you don't think about it that way. Like if I land on your homepage and the first photo I see is a beautiful beach or a mountain range or whatever, my brain is registering travel. Okay, so that's good. But if your photo is kind of abstract, like a pattern or a texture or something that doesn't have a clear subject, that's really a missed opportunity. And if your photo is just, a stock photo of a person on a laptop, that doesn't really say travel at all. The photos you want are the ones that feel like the travel you specialize in. If you do luxury cruises, I want to see a cruise ship or a beautiful ocean view or something else that says luxury and cruise. If you do family Disney vacations, show me something that says family, fun, Disney adjacent. The photo should reinforce what the headline is saying. They should be working together. Another thing is the above the fold test I mentioned earlier. Above the fold just means what you can see before you scroll. And this matters a lot on mobile, especially because a lot of people are looking at your site on their phone. And on mobile, that above the fold section is tiny. It's like the headline, maybe a sentence, and the button. That might be all someone sees before they decide to keep going or bail. So I always tell people, open your site on your phone, just pretend you're a stranger. What do you see? Is it clear? Is the headline readable? Like, is the font big enough? Is there a button visible? Or is the button hidden below the fold and you have to scroll to find it? This is something that trips people up a lot because they design their site on a computer and it looks great on the computer. Then they never check what it looks like on a phone. And it can be pretty different. Okay, let me talk about something that I think is a bigger conceptual issue, not just a design thing. And that's the idea of writing your homepage for your ideal client versus writing it for everyone. I see a lot of advisors who are kind of hedging on their homepage. Like they don't want to say they specialize in anything because they're afraid of turning people away. So the site ends up being very general. I book all kinds of travel for all kinds of travelers. And the problem with that is it ends up being not that compelling to anybody because it doesn't feel like you're talking to them specifically. Where if your site says, I help busy parents plan stress-free Disney vacations, that parent landing on your site is going to feel like, oh, this is for me. Like this person gets it. And someone who's not a parent might click away, but that's okay. You can't be everything to everyone on a homepage. You have to choose. And this is one of those things where, when we work on a site with someone, one of the first things we ask is like, who's your ideal client? Like if you could work with only one kind of traveler, who is it? And then we make sure the homepage is kind of speaking to that person. The tone, the language, the photos, the headline, all of it should feel like it was made for that specific person. Because when it does, that person converts. They reach out, they fill out the form, they schedule the call, versus a general site where they kind of look around and leave without doing anything. So let me also talk about what should come after that top section as you scroll down the homepage, because this is another place I see a lot of confusion about what to put there and what order to put it in. And in episode 6, we're going to go really in depth about what order to put it in. The way I think about it is this. After someone sees your headline and decides to keep reading, they're in a kind of evaluation mode. They're asking themselves, okay, this looks relevant, but can I trust this person? Is this legit? What exactly do they offer? So the rest of the homepage is kind of answering those questions. So after the hero section at the top, I like to see something that talks about what the experience looks like. Like, how does working with you actually work? What do you do for people? How do you solve their problems? You don't need a lot of detail here, just enough to make it feel real and tangible. Like, you tell me about your dream trip, I handle all the research and booking, and you finally get a fully planned vacation with no hassle. Something like that. 3 steps or a short paragraph, just something to make your service feel concrete. Then after that, you want some kind of social proof in there, like testimonials, real ones from real clients. Because when someone's evaluating whether to reach out to a stranger on the internet, the thing that moves them is knowing other people did it and it went well. Even just 2 or 3 testimonials can make a big difference. And then after that, make sure you have a second call to action because some people scroll all the way down before they're ready to act. And you want to meet them with another opportunity to reach out. Don't make them scroll back up to the top to find the button. Every page should end with a call to action. So, the other thing I want to mention, and this kind of ties everything together, is the idea of reading your own site like a stranger would. And this is genuinely hard to do because you know too much. Like, you know what you do, you know who you help, you know what the process looks like. So when you read your homepage, your brain fills in all the gaps. You read your journey starts here and you think, yeah, that makes sense, because you know what that means in context. But a stranger doesn't have that context. They're reading every word at face value. And any vague language, any assumed knowledge, any jargon, all of that creates friction. And friction on a homepage is what causes people to leave. So one exercise I like is to read your homepage out loud, like actually out loud. Ask yourself, if I had never heard of this business and someone read this to me, would I know what they do? Would I know who they help? Would I know what to do next? If the answer to any of those is no, or even kind of, that's where to start. And then the last thing I'll say, and this is more of a big picture thought, is that your homepage is not your whole story. You don't have to fit everything on it. I think a lot of advisors try to put everything on the homepage because they're afraid people won't click through to other pages. But a cluttered homepage that tries to say everything ends up saying nothing clearly. Your homepage's job is just to get the right person to take the next step. That's it. Get them to schedule a call, fill out a form, click to learn more about a specific thing. It's not supposed to close the deal all by itself. It's just supposed to make them want to go further. So if you're looking at your homepage and you're thinking, I need to add more, I'd actually push back on that. Usually what helps is removing things and simplifying things, getting more focused, making it easier to understand, not more comprehensive. Think bullet points, headings, subheadings, scannable. Because a person that's landing on your homepage, they don't want to read a lot. They want to know quickly, is this for me? Can I trust them? And what do I do next? If your homepage answers those 3 things clearly, it's doing its job. So to kind of sum up the test, here's what I'd have you do. Pull up your homepage on your phone, not your computer. Pretend you've never seen it before. Read the first thing you see. Can you tell just from that what kind of travel you specialize in and who you help? Is there a clear next step visible without scrolling? Does the overall feel of the page, photos, colors, tone, match the kind of traveler you're trying to attract? And then, if you can, find someone who doesn't know your business and do the 5-second version. Show it to them briefly, close it, and ask them what do they think you do. Their answer will tell you a lot. It's not a complicated test, but it's a pretty honest one. And the thing I like about it is it's not about design taste or what looks cool. It's just, does this work? Does it communicate what it needs to communicate? Can a stranger understand it? And most of the time, the fixes aren't huge. It's usually just tightening the headline, making the call to action more specific, and removing the stuff that's adding noise without adding any clarity. All small changes, but they matter a lot when someone's making a 5-second decision about whether to stay or go. Anyway, that's what I've got on this one. Hope that was helpful. If you want to talk through your specific homepage, you know where to find me, suitcasedesigns.com. I'm Justin Hinkle. This has been the Travel Advisor Website Show. I'll see you in the next episode.